So you have probably played this game for quite a few hours now and started thinking, hey, I'm getting pretty good at this. But then there's this little voice back in your head saying, no, you are not good enough. So this video is going to focus exactly on that. So hopefully these tips will help you go from good to absolutely cracked. So if you have seen my first video, this video is going to essentially be like an extension to the first one, right? The first video was more focused on beginner tips for newer players. This video is going to be focused on advanced tips. Well, at least to me, they seemed advanced. And again, I do not believe in spreading generic tips. These tips are essentially from my own experience and they helped me, so I hope they will help you too as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first tip is chargers. We all hate them because they reject managed democracy. If you have an autocannon, once they charge past you, 2 perfect shots at one of their back legs will instantly incapacitate them. Now, sometimes when you shoot your autocannon at their legs, the bullet will deflect and fly somewhere to the other side of the map. Now, for that to not happen, you actually have to shoot at the inner parts of their legs. So when you see them turned around, there's the outer part of their leg, which has the most armor, and then there's the inner part. 2 autocannon shots will instantly kill the charger. I do this every time once I am out of any stratagems to kill them, or I just do not want to waste them on a measly charger. Also, a lot of people seem to be running expendable rocket launcher, so since the previous update, you can actually kill the chargers with a very well placed shot to their head. So before, you used to shoot the rocket launchers at their buttocks or their legs, because that would take off the armor. But now you can actually shoot the expendable at their head and it will instantly kill them. Now, if you have been using the buffed flamethrower, which has been buffed, I believe, like a week or 2 weeks ago, you know that it works perfectly well against the bugs. But there's one thing I saw people do wrong. I myself was doing it wrong until I realized. Once you find a few charges running at you, try setting their front legs on fire instead of shooting it at their head. It will make them drop twice as fast. Before, I thought it doesn't really matter because it's fire, right? It should work anyway. But once I started setting their front legs on fire, it started to feel really different. Sometimes shooting the flamethrower at their heads took almost the whole canister of fuel. Now it only uses half of it, which is insane. So you should start feeling a bit more brave if you see 2 or 3 charges running at you now. This is because their legs are their main mode of transportation, right? They don't have cars. So if you incapacitate one of their legs, they will instantly fall over. So try doing that. Tell me how it feels. So there is actually an optional objective called radar station. I'm sure everyone knows about it. But once the tower is gonna get raised, you do not need to go back to check what the specific position for the radar is. There is a sound cue which will tell you that it is in the correct position. That might save you some time next time you do this. Yes, sometimes it will be easier to just, go back if there's nothing happening around you and check what the specific position is. Maybe it's like, a 90-degree angle to the left and you would have done a complete opposite. So sure, but sometimes when I'm being overrun and there's bugs swarming me from the other side, sometimes I just don't check what the location is. I just start turning it and there's going to be a little sound cue that's going to tell you that, hey, I'm in the right position. Leave me alone, right? Also, I realize not a lot of people know this, but once you find this objective, it gives you an advantage. Once you complete it, it will show you every single POI on the map, which will definitely help you finding those sweet super credits and medals. So if you see a radar station, try completing that first and then go around doing other objectives, because it will give you a good idea where all of the extra stuff is scattered around. It will also tell you where other optional objectives are, so you won't need to look for them. And yeah, it's definitely going to help you. Okay, so most people probably saw the new flying terminids. So these little have nests. The nests are armored inanimate objects, which means you'll have to do better than an autocannon. Trust me on that. Mostly nothing works on them. I have dropped 500 kg bombs on them and they're still there. I think you get a hell bomb once you're on location. I did not see it pop up when I was there myself, so don't quote me on that. But I believe it's supposed to appear in your stratagem list. But what I noticed works really well on them are mech rockets. 2 rockets can take out 1 nest, and there are usually 3 of them. So 6 rockets can deal with the whole objective and of course prevent more flying bugs from spawning. When we were playing a few days ago, my buddy actually dropped a 500 kg bomb, which did destroy it for some reason. But when I dropped the 500 kg bombs, it completely didn't work. Like nothing happened completely. So I believe it's simply really inconsistent, but what is consistent is the mech. So if you are running a mech, drop 1 down, it'll take 6 rockets. You'll still have 8 more to go. You'll be fine. Now this next tip is about Bile Titans. If you've been playing for a while, you should not have any problems with them. One of the best things you can use against them are the rail cannon orbital strike, but the problem is that you'll get only one of them, which by itself kills about 10 very, very rarely. Unless you did some prior damage, then it will one-shot it, right? Now, since a lot of people are playing with an auto cannon, this tip is exactly for you. Once you use your rail cannon and it takes off the top part of his, armor, then you know that he is hurt. Then you can actually shoot both of his sacks on the bottom of his body and he should die pretty fast. That's how I deal with them solo. If he still does not die, try shooting a couple of more shots at its face and he should drop very, very fast. That is why in every mission against Terminids, I run a rail cannon strike and a 500 kg bomb. That way, even when I'm alone, I can deal with the first one easily and the others will feel that nice warm power of democracy from 500 kg bombs. Now, I also have a few tips for automatons, because apparently a lot of people are struggling against them and simply do not want to play in automaton-infested planets, because, it makes sense, they shoot back and they can kill you way, way easier than Terminids. So a lot of people seem to be running impact nades, so just know that impact nades can easily kill a tank if thrown exactly at the weak spot at the back of the turret. So there are usually vents, sorry, not usually, there are always vents at the back of the turret of the tanks. There are two tanks. There's the Annihilator tank, and then there is also the Shredder tank. The Annihilator tank has a big ass rocket and a small machine gun at the front. It turns really, really slow, so it's way easier to deal with the impact nades, but the Shredder tank is way more difficult to deal with. It will focus on one person. It has quad machine guns at the front of it, so if it is aiming at you, you will probably not be able to throw those impact nades at the turret. But as I was saying, the Shredder tank turret turns really fast, so if it is focused on you, it will be a little bit harder to deal with. However, the Annihilator tank, as I said, turns really slow, so you can outrun it. Just try not to run into its front, as it has those spike things that will kill you if you run into them. But yeah, basically, just know that you don't need to use your best stratagems to deal with the tanks now. You just use impact nades and throw them at their weak spot, and these tanks will go kaboom. If you've been playing against automatons, you obviously know that there's bot drops, and these little commissars actually call in the bot drops. Before the dropship arrives, if you see the flare gun shot from the commissar, the dropship will actually arrive in around 6 or 7 seconds, so you have time to call something in before it arrives. Now, when it arrives, you can actually shoot down its thrusters to destroy it. Even if it manages to get their units on the ground, the falling dropship should kill most of them. Now, the automatons also take a couple of seconds to drop from it after the dropship stops, so you should be able to aim properly and shoot it down. Now, the best thing to use against these are, I noticed, expendable rocket launcher, because they arrive in like 3 or 4 seconds. So as soon as I see that the bot drop is happening, I just call in another expendable rocket launcher and I wait for the bot drop to arrive. Once it arrives, it hovers in the air for a couple of seconds and I aim at one of the thrusters and shoot it down. That way it will be way easier on you, so you won't have to deal with as many automatons. And also, I realized a lot of people don't know this. By doing SAM site optional objective, it will take out some of these dropships for you, so you will not need to worry about them as much. The SAM site optional objective looks like a microwave symbol, so if you find that, definitely go do it. It will help you out a ton. Now, I also recommend using localization confusion from the new Warbond. It helps reduce the amount of enemies that actually spawn around you. So if you combine these 3 things, these automaton missions are going to be easy. Now, higher tier automatons like Berserkers, Devastators, and Hulks are highly resilient to most of the damage, but there's one big weakness that they have, and it's their head. I noticed a lot of people bringing shotguns in automaton missions, and specifically I'm talking about the Breaker. So instead, start prioritizing guns like Sickle or Anti-Material Rifle or even Liberator. I would not consider this tip as advanced, but seeing how many people actually run shotgun on level 30-40 in these kind of missions, that actually made me reconsider making this tip. Also, please note that Breaker Incendiary does not actually work well against automatons, so do not consider using that. It's only good against bugs. And by saying shotguns, I did not mean the Punisher Slugger, because Slugger is actually amazing against automatons because you can aim for the head and the higher tier automatons will drop very, very fast. Now, one gun that actually felt really, really good, except I'm super bad with it, is the Jar 5 Dominator. It is the only explosive weapon in the game currently, and it works surprisingly well against those higher tier automatons. Sickle is also awesome against automatons, you just have to aim well. An Anti-Material Rifle is one of the best guns you you can actually use against automatons, especially against hulks. If you land 2 perfect shots at a hulk's head, it will drop so fast. Now, actually, Hulk's heads are reinforced, so it will be quite different from Devastators and Berserkers, because Devastators and Berserkers' heads are not reinforced, so you will usually take 1 shot from the anti-material rifle if you obviously aim it well. And there you go. So these tips actually helped me a lot to improve my game. Well, actually, I just realized that you can do these things, and especially automaton missions, they became way easier to do. But yeah, all in all, I hope these tips will help you. Let me know in the comments what you think about them. I also stream on Twitch, not as much as I used to because I'm making videos on YouTube, but if you want to come say hi, I would really appreciate it. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.